Welcome to another edition of Maritime Gateway's Digital Dialogue. Today we have a guest with us, Mr. Jasjit Singh Sethi, Chief Executive Officer of TCI Supply Chain Solutions. Jasjit carries more than 30 years of work experience in sales, logistics, and supply chain management functions, along with strategic leadership and change management. He joined TCI in the year 2000 and is now serving as CEO, TCI Supply Chain Solutions. TCI Supply Chain Solutions is a single window enabler of logistics and supply chain, encompassing all the needs right from the conceptualization to implementation for high value industry segments like automobile, retail, and CP, e-commerce, telecom, high-tech, chemical, life sciences, and healthcare. He is an alumni of Harvard Business School, MIT Business School, and Punjab University, Chandigarh. Besides courses with NITI Powai, National University of Singapore, and MDI Gurgaon. He is currently serving as director in three of the companies, Transsystem Logistics Private Limited, TCI Conquer Multimodal Logistics Private Limited, and TCI Cold Chain Solutions. Apart from that, he is very active with associations like National Committee on Infrastructure of FICCI, ASSOCHAM National Council on Logistics, CII National Committee on Retail, and he is also advisory board member for Maritime Gateway publication. He has a deep interest in supply chain logistics industry with keen interest in technology and digital transformation enthusiast. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jasjit Sethi. It's an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. That was a long list, and I'm very honored to have you read it. So, thank you so much. It's good to be back, Mr. Ramprasad. Good to see you.
Our pleasure. So, let me begin with the most recent development on the logistics landscape. Honorable Prime Minister released this National Logistics Policy. So, what are the key transformational changes that this policy can bring to our industry?
I think it's a very welcome step because it put logistics in the forefront, and that has not been recognized so well. It talks also about integration of different modes. So as of now, it is more of a thought process under PM Gati Shakti initiatives. It talks more of the deliverables, that where we are now and where we need to go, how we will get there, and some of the pieces will probably iron out as we go. This has got a lot of tools around it. Which has got the tools for planning, decision making, the engagement of the states, and also the project monitoring framework. But having said that, I think it is still early days for us to look at the benefits right away. And the public-private participation is going to be very important, and how all the modes come together. We have so far had road versus rail before the multimodal word came in. Coastal shipping is still isolated and not so much part of the mainframe. And other modes like air have been very expensive to use and only constrained to probably the couriers. So with all that in mind, we did not have proper interchanges. For example, the multimodal logistics parks. Probably Concor was the first company to start setting up those MMLPs. But those were again mostly rail-based and not so much of road and rail-based. The first real of that is yet to come in. So once those start coming in, the interchanges between road and rail, they become better. And we have warehousing at the same premises. That will make logistics much more efficient. That's a great step forward. But as of now, we will yet not to get the fruits of it, as you very well know.
Out of the many aspects of that policy, let us focus on technology and digitalization, which is, you are also very passionate about it. So can you give me an insight into how TCI is leveraging on these technologies?
So I think what has been fundamental change, and this is before this policy, is actually the EV bill after GST. So the EV bill is a phenomenal thing. And many countries, like even Europe, could not do that, what India was able to. That every invoice going out was tracked through electronic way bill. And earlier, it was much maligned under the name of Behati in UP or a EV bill in Karnataka. But after GST, this came across to be complete digital. No paper was required to be carried. And yes, there have been glitches which would happen at such a scale, but by and large, it has been phenomenal in terms of data and information it carries. So the GST is the basis of the e-way bill, as you're well aware. So the methodology for tracking an e-way bill is that the GST portal has a GSP, and then you have a ASP under that, and that ASP feeds companies with the information. Since it came in, we did not feel the need for an ASP, and that is linked with the GSP. So every e-way bill made on our company, any of our GST codes, and we have about 70 of them across all the companies. We are aware of it, and we track each of them electronically. We extend them electronically in terms of when they are about to be due for today and due for tomorrow as well. An exigency which we have, we based on that. So far for us, it has become very much part of our control tower dashboard. So we have a dashboard on the e-way bill as well. And it has helped us in terms of controlling the possible leakages by a shipment not being arriving on time. So it's been a great help. The part which we do, which the government doesn't have yet, is the GPS. So we link our truck's GPS with that e-way bill. And that is how it gets married in terms of when it arrives. So we close the e-way bill. It has now arrived there. So e-way bill is now closed in our records.
Can we talk about a little bit about TCI business? How has been maybe during the COVID and post-COVID? How is the business scenario with you?
I think during COVID, for us, it was more of a service. And 23rd of March was the lockdown in 2020. We worked with the government and had a logistics policy for essential goods out by 25th. And once we were up and running again, the warehouses which cater to food, that never stopped throughout the COVID. And essential cargo started to come in. Then we increased that overall essential cargo into things which make that as well. For example, packaging was not part of the food. We got that also as part of it. And we have been working alongside the first wave of COVID. When the second wave came, we were far better prepared. And that time, the issue had come of oxygen, if you recall. So fortunately, we were in the space of gas tankers, and we did about 7,000 tons of oxygen to Delhi in the month of April and May during that Delta wave. So while this has been more of a service, but it also helped our business, and we grew in that year as well, and the last year also. This year, our growth has been far better because last year, again, the base effect, May was slow because industries were closed. So growth has been pretty fine, but I find a kind of a K-shaped recovery. Some sectors, which are probably automobile and consumer durables, are really going up very well. And the higher end televisions or refrigerators are just flying off the shelves. But the lower end of the pyramid, the brown goods, the two-wheelers for mobility, they are not doing well. During the COVID, I took 2 road trips. One road trip I took to Bombay from Delhi, and second I took towards Calcutta. That was because airlines were not running in the first wave, and second, it was again sketchy. So just to meet people, see how things are happening. What I could see in the second wave, just post the Delta wave, is that bottom of the pyramid, the MSMEs and other employees, they have a demand for two-wheelers. They have a demand for goods, but they don't have the right profile anymore to get lending. They don't have the money to buy things. So demand is there, but affordability has gone down. So I could actually see, this is in UP and Bihar, these parts more pronounced, where you could feel that the lower end of the pyramid, which is the lower middle class, that has taken a big hit in terms of their finances during the COVID. So notwithstanding that, while we are growing, we still feel that this bottom of the pyramid, not being able to afford, may at some point start impacting the overall economy. So that is our take on this as of now. And this year we're talking about 30% growth is there in the first 6 months. And let's see where we end up in this year, but it should be a very handsome growth to boot.
TCI is into warehousing, it is multimodal logistics parks and cold chain. So what kind of infrastructure you have currently, and what is the hinterland that you are serving?
So in terms of the infra, first of all is a network of own offices. We have 1,400 and they are across all districts, 2 to 3 to a district. So we have one in Leh and in Ladakh. We also have Port Blair. We also Agartala. We have Bhuj, for example. That is covered. We have about 1,800 owned trucks, which we move mostly specialized trucks within the country. And we also have access to about 6,000 vendor partners who are dedicated to us either on two-way or one-way. We operate trains both as TCI itself and also as a joint venture with Concor, TCI Concor. Average, we do about 200 trains a month. So last year we did about 1,400 trains. This month we should be clocking 2,000 plus trains. These are full rakes. One rake could be 25 bogies to 45 bogies. Mm-hmm. This could be for automobiles, it could be for containers as well, and also for general goods. We also run 6 ships, 3 on the west coast and 3 on the east coast. Mm-hmm. These are coastal vessels. They apply on Mundra, Kandla, to Cochin circuit, and then Chennai to Port Blair circuit. And to facilitate all this, we have about 52 yards for different kind of cargo, and about 85 warehouses, altogether 13 point some million square feet of space which we manage. So, and this all connected through own network. We have our own private cloud, and all these are connected through our own data servers with a high availability, also based out of India in a different location. We also have our mobile apps, which are enabling anybody in the field to do all the transactions, including the transaction in the train as well. So we can do a transaction on a rake in terms of using the data of GPS and 4G to do a transaction without having to go to a laptop or to a PC complete transaction. It's all real time, and we also were able to shift to a new system of attendance during COVID because biometric had to stop. So we have a proximity based system where if I have come to office, I can mark my present only if I'm in the periphery of my office. And that is for all our workers, if everything electronic. So once they're inside the premises, they can mark a present. And all these are also linked with about 12 questions which people have in case they have any symptoms of COVID. So we have kept ourselves safe as well along with that. Total about 27 hands which we have. We lost about 8 people in the 2 waves of COVID.
That's wonderful. So COVID was not the only challenge that we have faced. Now we see the Russia-Ukraine war still continuing, and oil prices have shot up. Even freight rates have gone up, and now we are talking about globally inflationary trends. So how is it affecting the demand in the market, especially for the exports, and any of these trends have impacted TCI?
So far, since we are growing, we don't see a direct impact. But what impact we do see is that first impact which we had was of the fuel price increasing. Second, some of the metals and minerals that impacted the supply chain for automobiles, like nickel and others. That impact is there. Going forward, we feel the impact of gas prices going up in Europe, especially during the winters, will have an impact on India as well. The overall impact of the war in terms of the food chain, food grains, was seeming to be positive on India initially. Now it is neutral. We believe that this conflict will also polarize the world. And while India is a mostly domestic-centered economy, and we are also domestic-centered, but these impact of less globalization are not good, and we can see that our exports are reducing. It is an opportunity for us also of Make in India. but we need to also have Make in India for the world. So that impact, I think initially it is there, but if you look at the polarization, probably India will gain from what China has lost. And if we are able to get our, quality and cost together, probably India would have a good opportunity emerging out of this polarization, because diplomatically we have kept ourselves very nicely neutral. And that I think is a very big positive for trade, that the political alignment has to be first, and then comes the economic alignment.
One catchphrase we talk about is multimodal logistics. It is from the industry as well as government. Government wants to promote multimodal logistics, and industry also wants multimodal logistics, but we don't see it really happening in the true sense. So, as an academician, as a theoretician, and also as an industry practitioner, what do you think are the reasons for that we are not able to ground this the complete multimodal logistics system?
I would differ a little bit on that. You see, during the first phase of COVID, what happened that the passenger trains stopped, and even there was shortage of drivers initially. So railway came to the front, and we had unimaginable transit times. Delhi to Chennai in 40-45 hours. Maybe from Ahmedabad to Agartala in 60 hours. Now, what this did was, is that it moved traffic from road to rail. And then when things became normal, it became road and rail. So it is not road versus rail. And, our belief goes back to the year 2008-9, when we and Concor got together and said, why don't the largest company in logistics, domestic transportation, and in trains get together to offer customer end-to-end? And whatever work we do along with Concor in the joint venture, that is to make things on an end-to-end basis. And that's been a success story. And that same is replicated in other cargo as well. Today, hub and spoke has become quite popular in automobiles also. Surprised to know that today we move a lot of tractors and cars also by train, and then put them in the yard and then distribute them. So we do 70, 80 trains, 200 trains every month only on these goods. So there is a lot of traction of multimodal. This is a mass movement. I didn't mention that we also own 3 trains. We own 3 trains called AFT, which are double-decker, which carry about 270 cars in one shot. And that also enables us to, live the story of multimodal. Railway has also come forward, and from this April, they are giving green points. So as you know, that ESG is very important for corporates. So these green points go a long way in satisfying the green point requirement of any corporate. So multimodal is happening now. It is happening far more than earlier, and the MMLPs, when they come up, we see it to go up very substantially. But one thing which could probably derail it is that again the transit times are going up in railway because passenger trains are back now. So the dedicated freight corridor is required. When there were no passenger trains, everything was a DFC. Now it is no longer so.
I understand that at National Logistic Excellence Awards, TCI has won Best Warehouse Service Provider, Best Cold Chain Refrigerator Service Provider. Congratulations on these achievements. But tell us, what made you win these? What is the USP, or what is the success behind winning these kind of awards?
So for warehousing, India began as godown management, where things were kept wherever they could be done. And there was nothing like a first in, first out. There was no location. We started looking at first at the block storage, started looking at doing basic barcoding, then went to vertical warehouses. So today we talk more of the cube of the warehouse and not the square footage. Started to put our own WMS systems into place. And what began as a B2B business to business, then became as a B2C. So we used to manage some of the largest warehouses of the e-commerce giants. We have done many of our own processes and systems in warehousing as well. And whatever learnings we've had from our global trips, which is about 60 facilities across Europe and the US and the Asia Pacific, in terms of the efficiency and productivity of a Western country, at the cost of an Indian what India can afford, we are able to come up with efficiencies of a cost per unit, which is probably the best in class. And along with this, when we intermesh operations, which is processes, people, infra together into a good building, which is safe and where people who are MBS can also work in terms of working environment, climate, and safety. What we get is that the warehouses actually are, enablers for commerce to happen. And these service levels have been going up and up and up. So from cutoff time of 4 p.m. to cutoff time of 12 to 4 to 4 hours delivery, those kind of windows, that all has happened because of information technology also being part of that. So warehousing has been that, the width and breadth of it. Cold chain is something we have been working alongside for many years. We began in 2002 actually to start to look at the industry. Working alongside for about 6 years. Then we felt that right now quality is still not coming in. Gave a break for a few years. And around 2014, we again picked up the pieces and felt that now with FDA being there, with FSI being there, quality is going to be important, and incubated that vertical and hived off in separate company in 2018. So when we hived off, already it had a lot of knowledge and learning behind it. We also got a joint venture partner in that who's a global major that helped us in terms of higher quality. And today in cold chain, while we are not the largest, but in terms of quality, we're emerging quite well.
Are you looking at any fresh investments or expansion?
That is on as we speak, both in terms of the warehouses, yards, and rolling stock. So in case of rolling stock, we did not invest into any trucks for last couple of years. It's happening now. Already we have done a lot on that. We're investing into trains. We are also investing into tank containers. We are kind of liquids by stainless steel containers. That also is a business which in chemicals, which we are working on. And we also investing into cleaning centers for that. So a lot of stuff is going on in terms of building infra for that particular vertical.
Let us do some crystal gazing. Now we are at the last quarter of the year, calendar year. So what do you think will be the changes or trends in logistics and supply chain, maybe 2023?
I think logistics has become very much matured, and COVID has helped people also reach supply chains. This is for our customers as well. There have been some global shocks of high container rates, and people have started to look at alternate flows as well, because the rates which went up during the last 18-20 months period were to level of 3 to 4x also. With all that backdrop, I believe now there is more digitalization which is coming in. People are looking at supply chain de-risking. Resilience has become a very major part of supply chain. Costs, while they are important, are not as important as quality and resilience. That is our understanding. With the global play as it is happening now, we feel that country-centered supply chains will start to become more efficient and stronger. And the ports and intercontinental movement and flows will settle down in the next year, because whatever flows got disrupted by the line from China, that will start to settle in now, and the new lanes will start to get formalized. We believe 2023 should be a stable year as of now. Again, difficult to predict anything, but we should be a stable year because we have had a lot of learning, a lot of shocks in the last couple of years. And I think the industry per se largely has become far more stronger and wiser than it was earlier.
Mr. Jasjit Sethi, thank you very much for joining us and sharing a lot of insights into the national logistics policy perspectives and TCI existing operations, the expansion plans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ramprasad. It's a pleasure to see you. Have a good day ahead. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.